Hello, viewer. Are you a furry, Therian, quadrobus, or anything else in between? Do you long for a wonderful cat mask, but cannot afford to make or buy your very own? Well, fear not, my furry friend. I have a solution. Well, kind of. In this journey to find the perfect mask-making materials for a cheap price, I've ventured long and far, over mountains, through rivers, all to find one place. The Dollar Tree. That's right, my friends. With a budget of only $10, not including tax, I was able to buy almost everything I needed to make a cat mask. With the exceptions of a hot glue gun and the titular cat mask. Only the cat mask because I literally couldn't find the one that I found last time. No, seriously, they had it like 3 days ago, and I don't even know why they're gone. They only get them on Halloween, apparently, but that one was there in like all year. What the heck? Sorry, the lawyers told me I had to stop. Long story short, they didn't have what I wanted, so I'm just going to use a blank cat mask. But these aren't that expensive. You can get them on Amazon for like $1 a piece if you buy in bulk. And the mini hot glue gun only costs like $5 or $6, I think. Alright, so the first material I got was this yarn that I'm thinking I'm probably going to brush out into wonderful fur. Then I got this large roll of black felt that should be more than enough to make the mask. I wanted to get white, but all they had was black. Then for $1.25 I got some paintbrushes. Then I got this blue mesh I'm going to attempt to use as eye mesh, but it's a little thin. Then I got a 20 pack of hot glue sticks, mini edition. 2 bottles of acrylic paint for $1.25 each. And then I did not get this cat mask from Dollar Tree, but I already had it in my inventory. And it only cost me like $1 because I buy cat masks in bulk. Alrighty, so the first thing we're going to do is take our big roll of black felt and go ahead and felt this mask. Something I noticed immediately after starting is that this felt is extremely cheap compared to the stuff I normally use. Which I guess is to be expected when you're buying from Dollar Tree, but my god, this stuff was so thin the hot glue was almost bleeding through. Definitely not ideal. But if you still want to use this felt, it's still definitely doable, just maybe use a little less hot glue than I did. That way it won't bleed through as easy. Also, this wasn't too much of an issue for me, but if you really stretch this fabric, I honestly think it might just rip. Again, like I said, it was extremely thin, and it really just felt like it was going to break at any moment. Alright, now that we have the mask all felted up, I decided to go ahead and start cutting the fabric and folding over the felt. Ironically, because the felt was so thin, it actually made this part a lot easier. When I was folding in the eyes, it was much easier and almost looked better because the felt was less bulky, I guess? I don't know, but if you guys try it, let me know what you think. Alright, right here I'm going to cut out the nose out of felt. Normally I use clay noses for my mask because I absolutely suck at cutting felt noses out. But, you know, it is what it is. You gotta use the materials you got from Dollar Tree. But if you're doing this project at home with Dollar Tree materials, feel free to use any materials you have like clay noses. Alrighty, now I'm wrapping some acrylic yarn around my hand so I can brush it out into some fur. Back when I only used yarn fur, this part was my least favorite because oh my god, it takes so long to brush. And it hurts the heck out of your arm. Right now I'm tying knots in the center of the piles of yarn I've made. And then we're going to brush out both sides. Here I am brushing them out. My arm is already really sore like 3 minutes into doing this. But, you know, you just gotta tough it out, muscle through it. Alrighty, once you finish brushing out all your fur, you can go ahead and glue them onto the back of the mask. Be really careful not to burn yourself. It can happen pretty easily at this stage. The next step I'm doing is I'm cutting out this blue mesh, and I'm gonna glue it on, but I'm gonna double it up so it's not as thin. It was really hard to glue these down properly because they are so thin that the hot glue really just bleeds through and burns you if you're not careful. But I don't think this worked very well despite my best efforts. The mesh really is just too thin and see-through, and it really isn't the best material, but I guess it was worth a shot. This is kind of where everything starts going wrong. I thought because the felt was black it would be a little harder to paint on, but oh my god, no matter how many layers I freaking added, it just wouldn't show up the way I wanted it to. I could go and paint the whole thing white as a base coat, but I didn't buy any white paint, and it would be against the rules if I used white paint that I already had, so I just tried to muscle through and kept adding layer after layer, but it just wouldn't show. And the yellow I tried to paint on was even worse, it just looked like green and muddy and yucky. After much effort, this is the final result. It probably would have looked better and I think could even really work if they had the white felt that I wanted to get originally. I plan on making a part 2 to this at some point, trying maybe a different color of felt when my dollar store restocks it. But I'm not yet ready to give up on this. Definitely a part 2 coming soon because I really think I can make it work if I have the white felt. Anyways, that's going to be it for us today. Comment what you guys think, what you think I should try next, and don't forget to like and subscribe. See ya next time.